Were you just putting on a chill bed, but huh? Say something.
What's up, YT? Um, I'm back, like I never left. We haven't uploaded in a minute. We've been going through some family difficulties. Um, right now my son is in the hospital and I want to talk to you about the whole journey of going through that. It's a very hard journey. This is the first time I'm ever going through it. I have a daughter already. She's 24 months, so well, not 24. I'm like, she's 1.5 years old, whatever that is. And I've never had to go through that with her. Um, there's a lot of things I wish I would have changed as a mother. I thought I was just letting the kid be a kid, because I am hard on my kids, because I want to make sure they know who to respect, because I'm their mother. But there's times I let them be a kid, and it got me into a bad situation with my son. He's 10 months old, Avion. I'm gonna insert clips, pictures, everything. Please don't screen record or screenshot. It's very like it really messes with my head sometimes. Even looking at it, um, I can say starting like July 2nd, he had a fever, which is normal. He gets fevers. My kids get fevers mainly because of the teething stage. They'll get rashes and fevers. I've always had medicine to back it up. But this particular fever was not going away. Um, he started making really, really strange sounds with his breathing. Like it was something off. Like he wasn't breathing right. And I'm just thinking, maybe he's just exhausted from crying all day because of his fever. Maybe that's why he's making those sounds. So, I let a day go by. Come July 3rd, he's still not in the right state of mind at all. He couldn't even go to sleep. Like in the breathing, it was like grunting. She's never done, so I knew it was something up. I had to call the ambulance. That was the first time I've ever been in an ambulance to get drove into an ER. To the ER, I always felt like that was embarrassing, but for my son, I had to. So we get in the ambulance. Um, they are saying there's something wrong with his breathing. They take us to Santa Rosa Children's Hospital near downtown, and I get there. What they tell me, and I also take my daughter too because I'm like, okay, she has a fever too or whatever. Um, Moral of the story, they basically sent us home. They prescribed me ibuprofen and Iberage medicine and sent us home. Man, mind you, they took an X-ray. They heard his breathing. They made it seem like everything was fine. He had a little ear infection. He does play in water and stuff, so I got that. And I'm like, okay, so the breathing part was still confusing me, but they made it seem like it was just exhaustion. I let them know that his dad had a history of asthma, him and his siblings. As soon as I let them know that, they just prescribed me a asthma pump, which was very strange to me. Because then another nurse told me they won't know if a baby has asthma until like they're 6 years old. So I was kind of confused about that part.
It's okay, baby.
I came home, did what they told me to do. I prescribed medicine when I was supposed to, which was only ibuprofen, which helps the fevers, right? Which wasn't helping his fever at all. The asthma pump wasn't working. He was still breathing like he couldn't breathe. So the night came again, and I called the ambulance again with the ambulance. Yes, we ended up going to a different hospital in the ambulance. We went to one nearby, and I should have went to this one first. I knew I should have, but you know, when I caught the ambulance the first time, they just preferred Santa Rosa Children's Hospital, which I knew. I don't know why, but it was like a mother instinct. I knew that was a bad choice. I just knew not to go to that one. I always had a feeling about the hospital; they just don't do nothing right. So we went to this ER nearby. They took an X-ray there, and they're like, no, like this is not okay. Like his lungs do not look right. So they transported us to Methodist Hospital, which my son been in there for a minute. I come to find out my son had pneumonia, rhinovirus, and parainfluenza 4. That broke me because I'm like, how did I allow that to happen? Like, how did I allow him to get all these viruses? He doesn't be around anybody. It could have been from him picking up stuff that he wasn't supposed to be picking up, putting it in his mouth, germs, you know. They said it could have been from somebody coughing and touching him, or somebody sneezing and then he goes and touches where they sneezed at. It could have been a lot of things, but I know it was adding up for a while from the way his lungs looked. Um, so we end up spending his first 4th of July in the ER. Like, that sucks. Like, I was hoping to have let him have. I even had his bed ready for his first 4th of July, and yeah, it just wasn't. And this was also my daughter's first 4th of July at home because she wasn't with me her first 4th of July. So that kind of like it messed with my head a little bit, you know, because I wasn't able to be with neither one of them. Well, I was with my son, but it wasn't the 4th of July I wanted. Um, in the hospital, it was crazy. Like the breathing, everybody was so shocked. They're like, "Why did the hospital let you go home the first time?" Or I'm like confused as they are, you know. Um, when they found out he had those 3 viruses, they immediately took measures to give the medication, like try to clear it out, to cure it, whatever. Um, give him oxygen because of his breathing, like he still wasn't breathing right, but none of that worked. None of that worked. They tried it for days. And it was scary for me because my son was just not himself. You can tell he was in pain, and it was something that I couldn't fix, you know. As a boy mom, everybody knows how boys are clingy to their mothers. I just couldn't fix that situation because it was from the inside of his body. I couldn't hold him like he wanted me to. It was really, really hard. And just knowing he was looking at me confused, like, Mom, like, why am I in this bed? Why am I not next to you? Why you're not holding me? Like, why am I feeling this pain? I just couldn't answer none of those questions. He wouldn't understand if I did, but um, none of those worked. None of the medications are working. It helps with his fevers a little bit, but then they'll come right back and spike even higher. Um, I couldn't get no sleep in the hospital when he was like that. I just was so scared, like heart rate, anything. Like I was just on it. Caught the nurse for any little thing I thought was wrong. So yeah, and then it came to it that he was gonna have to go to surgery. That part, it really, I just couldn't, like, I didn't know what type of surgery. Yeah, I heard surgery and I was lost it. But I had to let them do what they had to do, or you know, he wasn't gonna get healthy because their procedures wasn't working. So he went into surgery, where they put a suction tube on his lung. He had to get cut open on the side, and it would suck all the fluid out. when he went into surgery, it didn't work. You know, when I was talking to the doctor before surgery, they're like, oh yeah, he's gonna be fine after this. I don't think he's gonna have to go to the ICU. This is gonna da da da. So I just had my hopes up, and then I got let down in the end. It didn't work. So they left the suction tube in there, and he had oxygen. He's been in the hospital for days, getting that fluid suction out of his lung. Like, it was more on the left side. He had a lot on the right. I guess he was able to cough it up, and with the lung therapy they were doing before surgery, I think it helped with the right lung. But the x-ray and the CAT scan showed very his left lung showed very much fog and fluid, you know. His his left lung was filled with bacteria and fluid and pus. It was horrible. It was literally caught. It was no room in his left lung, and it caused his lungs to be sore where he couldn't breathe. So he's been in the hospital for days getting that suction out. It was just hard seeing him. He had to have a breathing tube down his throat. When I first walked in and see that breathing tube down my son's throat, like, I lost it. I couldn't look at him like that. It looks like you're literally looking at your child. He's just not your child anymore. He has a big thing down his throat. He's not the same. He couldn't wake up. They had him on an anesthesia. They had him on all types of medicine to keep him asleep and so he wouldn't feel the pain of the tube in his throat. That was the worst time of my life. That is nothing like I've ever experienced, seeing my son like that. And I even tried to stay away from the hospital because I didn't want to see him like that, but like I couldn't at the same time. I wanted him to hear my voice, and I was there. And I really lost it. I would never want to go through that again. If the picture still remains in my head. Like I said, I will insert pictures and videos of everything. But that was a very, very scary moment for me. When they finally took the breathing tube out, that felt so like that took a big weight off my shoulder because when it was in, I couldn't hear him cry, cough, nothing. Like, it just, when he tried to cough, cry, or anything, it looked like he was choking, and he was like, he wasn't there. Like, he was able to open his eyes, but he wasn't able to move his eyeballs, blink, or anything. Like, it's like he can hear you, but that's it. So it was hard for that moment because he probably doesn't think I was there for that moment, but I was. When I came out, he just had the oxygen going through his nose. That was a big relief. They had to feed him through his nose too, and that took a minute. Like, he went days without eating before they decided to put the tube in his nose to let him eat because they didn't want to, mess up the procedure of the suction coming out the side of his lungs. So it took time for that, and very slowly, day by day, it's been like, it's been getting really better. Yesterday he officially had all tubes taken out, his side tube, which they call his chest tube, that was connected to his lung, and his tube that fed him, because mind you, he already had his throat tube out like before that. Then he got the rest out. They finally put him back on a bottle. He did good with that. The oxygen, it took a minute for them to wean that down. Like, he barely got off of that yesterday too. So he doesn't have no oxygen connected to him right now. So really the only thing they're doing right now is they're monitoring him breathing without the oxygen. They don't want it to be where, the same situation happens again. They want to monitor every route. That's just a scary moment for me. I don't ever want to go through that again, ever. Like, I don't ever want to experience that again. So like when he gets home, it's gonna be very hard for me. It's summertime. His birthday is next month, and it's gonna be very hard for me to honestly let him be a kid. I'm gonna be on the watch, but it's like, as a mother, what do I do? Like, he's a baby, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's gonna get into stuff. He's like, I just don't want this to happen again. So I just need little tips from you mothers. But they still haven't given me a release date when he'll be here. I'm waiting. His sister's waiting. Just waiting on that release date. Today they barely took him out of the ICU. He's transferred to another floor. I consider that's a good thing because he doesn't have to be on watch all the time, which means he's doing way better, you know. I just hope he's home by this week. This was a very traumatizing moment for me. I keep saying that because it is, that my son's not home with me, and then I have a 1-year-old too that I have to watch, so it's like I can't always be there. I will be inserting clips and videos, of things I took while he was in hospital. They don't let you record when they do surgery, so I couldn't do that. But or like when they don't let you record when they didn't let me record when they took the breathing tube out or anything. So I don't have videos of that, but I have of him how I first started to him getting better. He's still not fully better, I can say, because it's hard for him to sit up by himself still. It's just things he's not the same. He had just learned how to walk before he went to the hospital, and that's what took me. He's gonna have to learn all over again.
Oh. Come here, yes, come here, baby.
It was very hard for my 10-month-old to be in the hospital, me being pregnant, then having a 1-year-old at home. It's like very stressful, and I try to get day by day. I try to occupy myself. I could say I'm getting there, but God is doing what He has to do, because like it could have been where my son didn't get better, but God did what He had to do. I thank God for that. I thank everybody else, family, friends, associates, for the prayers, for the support, everything, the donations. We love y'all. We do. That meant so much to me, because I'm very antisocial in life right now. Don't really speak to nobody, but everybody came and showed support and showed out when it came to my son being in the hospital. Wanted every update and everything, and it kind of shocked me, because I'm like I didn't think people would care that much, but that just meant a lot to me. So that was a horrible 4th of July, I have to say that. And then I'm due on this month on top of that. I'm due, currently pregnant, and due August 2nd. So I really do hope my son is here before I go into labor, because I want to be able to bond with him again and everything that I wasn't able to do while he was in the hospital, because I don't want it to be where he comes home and then I go into labor. I'm trying to avoid that, because it's like then he's still not going to see me. So let's just pray this baby stays in a little longer. I feel like she's going to come out a little early because of all the walking and things I did. Stop, Lene. Subscribe to me. But I don't know, I feel like God has it. He got it wrapped around His finger, so I'm going to just put that to Him. That will be all for this video. Just prayers, guys, for me and my son and my family. Prayers that it all gets better. Prayers that he's home. Prayers that I have a safe delivery. Just prayers to everyone, and I'll be staying in touch on this YouTube. I will post. I want to do a labor and delivery vlog when it comes down to it, when the time comes. So hopefully I can do that, and I'm just not all over the place. Thank you guys for listening and watching, for those who are, and I am out. I'm going.